Hello, YouTube, and hello, world. My name is Zane, aka The Gambit, and you have now tuned in to Zane's Zone.
Here is my
So,
main issue is I
I,
I I actually can very easily see how short-term risk can domino into long-term risk. One thing I keep saying is, like, there's that theory, was it the dead man's hand with the nuclear thing from, like, the Russian guy years ago? Like, that was a simple mistake of how we almost had a nuclear war. So to me, in a reality now where we have deep fakes and all this misinformation, don't you think that a short-term risk, like something as simple as deep fakes and AIs, could create a geopolitical situation that creates a very near-term existential problem? Like, if somebody in Pakistan, in India, or somebody, that has a nuke saw a video of a deepfake video and they got the wrong impression and it spiraled into this whole thing and the whole nuclear war goes off, we don't need super intelligence. We could have an existential threat right now. So my point is, I don't see how you need ASI to necessarily get existential, um, from AI, and so I worry that you're not taking seriously enough the short-term risks, and the people in the AI risk network are being dismissive of these sorts of ideas to the point where John is making a shift and saying, "Hey, we need to take this more seriously because if this is the end of the world, we should be tackling every issue from every facet and every possible scenario to save the planet." And then I see you get on the show and be like, "Oh, well, we don't care about people killing themselves. We don't care about kids. We don't care about, like, we don't care, we don't care, we don't care, we don't care because it's not ASI." And I think that's problematic. And sorry, I'm being long winded. I'll wrap up. But my last point is, if you're going to say legislation is the way, laws are the way, how do you get there? Well, you need public support. You need people that can move the needle. You can't just appeal to China and Xi and Trump and all these people and say, "Hey, we're going to come to the table and just make a global treaty happen." You need public support. So I find
so I'm basically, to sum up, I'm basically making the pitch, not because I necessarily think that deep fakes are going to cause a nuclear war, but they could, right? And so my basic position is we need to take all risk at all levels seriously. These things are not properly regulated yet. This is all a new frontier. We should be taking all of it seriously. And there's real hurt happening now. And that focusing on theoretical hurt later could be problematic. And I'm basically making the case there's an intersection between the two and that there's merit in focusing on short term risk. So I lay out a scenario of, like, what if, even at a low chance, a deep fake or something like that creates a geopolitical situation that fucks up the planet? A nuclear war happens, yada, yada, yada. There seems to be a hyper focus from these guys just on superintelligence. So I use that not because I actually think that's the biggest threat to humanity, but because I think this is one of, like, a bunch of examples I can make about why this stuff is dangerous, harmful, and we need to fucking do something about it, whether it's regulation, whatever, and making it bad for business, all that stuff. And I note that his co-host on the Sunday show, John Sherman, is also making a similar shift there. And I feel like his flippant nature with the way that he describes things is problematic because people are going to hear that and be like, what the fuck, dude? Like, you don't care about what my concerns are? You don't care, you don't care. That's not how you build a coalition. And I basically make the case, as we'll see, that you're going to need a coalition, dude. These are fucking huge corporations. What are you going to do other than build awareness and try to bring people into your camp? So that's basically the argument in a nutshell, right?
Yeah,
Pretty
no
good.
worries. Well said. Well, I think you're speaking for a lot of people. It seems like John Sherman's certainly on the same page, so you got one fan right there. Um, I mean, I think it just building a coalition. Sure, I'm not kicking anybody out of the coalition who wants to pause AI. I'm all for coalition building. It just, I mean, look, give me one mundane harm, right? Because there's so many. Right? There's water use, right? There's electricity. There's suicide. Like, but what do you think is the one strongest harm short of being super intelligent?
So therein lies, and this doesn't kind of get too picked on in our discussion, but, like, I immediately take issue at the word mundane. Now I understand, relative in his mind, into these people's minds, relative to super intelligence, it's mundane. But I continue making the case that that framing is problematic. When you start saying things like teen suicide and stuff are mundane, that's going to be off-putting to people. And it's just sort of devoid of a natural sort of human empathetic attitude, which I think you're probably going to need, right? So I already take issue with the framing there. Um, and so, I mean, he basically acknowledges that he likes the way that I've articulated, my point, but you're gonna see here that basically I make the case that he's got this thing on his channel called P Doom, right? Where he basically says to people, even though super intelligent AI might be, a 10% chance, as these corporations are saying, even with it being that low, we need to fucking do something about it. And I'm basically trying to make the case here that, like, yeah, you should also give a shit now, even if the risks are low.
Hey y'all, this is your boy Zane, the Gambit. Thank you so much for tuning into Zane's Zone and this AI Safety Zone series that I'm going to be doing on this channel. This is just the beginning. I'm going to link a few of the channels, resources, and people that I hope you'll follow in this journey to AI safety. Please let me know in the comments, positive, negative, anything critical, any feedback, any shortcomings, anything that I missed. I'm new to this topic. I'm investigating it right there with you guys. So please let me know what you think. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see y'all next time.